The real winning isn't whether or not you win or lose the game. The real winning is how you play while you're winning or losing the game.
Yo, what's up? It's the Hungry Millennial back again with yet another Proactive Pragmatism. On today's Proactive Pragmatism, I'd like to talk to you about Jordan Peterson's rule number 10, be precise in your speech. And when it comes to precision in speech, it can help you turn chaos in your life into a thing that you can deal with. And I've come up with some actionable steps. We're going to talk about 1, finding the source. What is the source of the problem that you want to solve? 2, identify the solution. 3, create a plan. And 4, embody consistent action. So when it comes down to finding the source, we need to look at being precise as a tool that's going to help us heal possibly our finances, our health, our wealth, and our relationships. Often when there is discomfort or pain, there is something that we need to address. And it can also come in places of guilt, feeling shame, because we're not doing the things that we need to be doing. And often that can take a toll on our mental health as well as our physical health. Because often when we feel uncomfortable, we want to reach to very close comforts like food, like drugs, like alcohol, all of these things that eventually spiral out of control. But the problem is life moves so fast that we never really hone down and understand and look back at it like, wow, I spent all this time trying to heed and stifle my discomfort with comfort that I'm ultimately continually putting myself into more discomfort later on down the line. It's like, for me, I struggled a lot with finances, and eventually I had to get to a point where everything around me was crashing down, and there was no quick fix way of getting money. I couldn't gamble or stumble into financial resources. I couldn't borrow the money. Everything crumbled around me. I got in a car accident. I had 2-3 cars with repos on them, different things like that. And eventually I found the Dave Ramsey plan. For me, identifying the solution was, how can I make my life better? How can I turn my finances around? And here are some things that I started to do. I started to do some research. You have to realize that you're not alone, and there has been somebody or something or a conversation that has been had with somebody who has similar issues. So use the YouTube, use the podcast, use music, use Google. These are all the things that you have in your toolkit around you that others in generations past didn't have. And these tools often become sources of entertainment when they can become sources of empowerment. We want to empower ourselves to make the best decision to help save ourselves, because often we become codependent on other people to guide us to that light, and they don't have it figured out. Because often what will happen is they haven't been precise in their speech. They've got their own chaos. So if somebody else has their own chaos, how can we be dependent on them to help us lift us up? You can't help someone else off the ground if you're laying on the ground next to them. So the next thing that I did was I created a plan. So I saw the Dave Ramsey steps. I was like, you know what? Some of these things I can do. And it started off, I had to look at my budget and figure out, how much am I spending every week? What are the things that, like, I'm trying to impress other people or trying to get that feeling of validation from others that I'm wasting and spending my money on? One way that I went down the rabbit hole was alcohol, going out, trying to meet, beautiful ladies, and, trying to get away from work with alcohol and things of that nature. A lot of those things, the small parties, the small things like that, we don't realize they take a chokehold. They take control of our lives, and we end up spiraling downhill. because that one night that you spent on that Saturday night eventually becomes that Sunday morning. Now you rack up a bill of $40 from Grubhub or Uber Eats because you tried to nurse yourself back to health after ruining your health. And now that spirals into Monday and you're sort of disoriented. And the older you get, these habits that you don't master and you don't analyze the chaos and fix them, they eventually become worse and worse, and they spiral out of control. And you start to see what is a shell of your past self. Now you're like, I want to get into the gym and get in shape and get my body back together. But the truth is you only get one body. So the best place to start is now. And so when you're creating the plan, you don't want to get fancy. You want to ration out the change in your life. And a part of rationing this out is say, you know what? Hey, maybe you eat nothing but fast food. Maybe you limit it to where you set a goal. Okay, I can get 2 fast food meals a week. I've done that. So a part of finances and health is like those two run together. If I want to make more financially or budget better or continue to perform optimally in my job, I need to work on my health so I'm healthier when I go to work, and make me succeeding and working on my problems a major focus in my life, because that will funnel out into everything else. So don't get fancy, but you also want to write it down. So with me, I often keep and the Army's kind of trained me to be this way, because there's so many things as a leader that I have to solve that I can't really keep track of. The human mind kind of has its bounds when it comes to instant information. So I keep a tiny green notebook in my bag while I'm working, and even, while I'm working on my job, so I can transcribe the notes that I need to my phone. So it might not be a green notebook to you, but it might just be a phone. So use that to keep track of your goals. Use that to keep track of your ideas so they don't slip away. Because every time it slips away, you're pushing your timelines of the things that you want to accomplish farther and farther. Start being specific with that plan that you have. And by having it on my phone, I have instant access. I see it, I can internalize it, and then I can own that goal in that process. You can own that goal, but you have to be realistic. You have to be able to face the things that you're running away from. So the last thing that I want to talk to you guys is, this is the most important piece for me when it comes to being precise in your speech and speaking things into existence. You're also walking those things into existence. So you want to embody consistent action. So let's talk about what consistent action is not. And consistent action isn't consistently talking without doing, right? We want to talk about the goal. We want to make it known. But often making something known and just talking about something can give you those feel-good endorphins. It's like, even with the podcast, a lot of venting and doing different things, it can make you feel like you're doing, because you have those endorphins and that excitement, your body's turning and your blood is pumping and rushing, and you're like, oh wow, this is really cool, this is really awesome, right? But the truth is, you're not actually doing anything, you're just saying it. Every year you see it over and over again. New Year's resolution, New Year, new me. You have, individuals who they take pictures and there is no before and after. They might have gotten healthy, but at the same time, if you wait too long to get on top of this goal, your body starts to break down as well while you're trying to build it up. So you only get so many resets. So one thing that I've tried to do is even when right now I'm currently in Tampa on a little mini work staycation. I wanted to podcast in an area that just wasn't my apartment. And so I came out here to, get that relief. But while I'm eating and I'm consuming things, I'm like, don't overeat. Consume some vegetables, still take your green juice, still drink your water. So that way I'm staying on track. Let's talk about another thing that consistent action is not. It's not comparison. You're not other people. I'm never gonna be as tall as a 6'8" dude that's got all the honeys. But I can stay in my lane and get my honeys. You know what I'm saying? I can stay in my lane and do the best that I can with what I have. I can work, you got to look at yourself. Like, for instance, I'm like, okay, well, I would like a bigger chest. So that's what I'm going to work on. But I can't get bogged down in Charlie and Mike's and Joe's bench pressing competition where they want to throw up 350. Like, I'm tired of seeing the guys who don't work out regularly, go in there and, yeah, I'm throwing up 350. And then they never touch the gym ever again. Like, it is the most endorphin rage type thing that you have. But you know what? That's them. That's their life. If that's what they want to do, cool. But, doing the research and looking at the guys that were throwing up 350 in their 20s that are now in their 60s and 70s, like, a lot of them are like, dude, you only have one set of joints, one set of ligaments and things like that. Take care of your body. I have longer arms. A lot of people have shorter arms than me. And, it's one of those things where I have to work with what I have. So I'm cool with throwing up 225, 250, and, squatting decent amounts and just staying balanced, because life is about balance. And this ties back to the don't get fancy, right? Don't get too fancy. So let's talk about embodying consistent action and the fact of what it is. Embodying consistent action is relative to your resources. So start where you are now today. Don't go out and buy 8 million supplements. Start with drinking water. Start with putting the soda down. It gets to a point, and I struggle with this a lot, man. I remember when I was super stressed out. So when I was driving with Uber in Chicago, when I was living out my car for a year, I would always go for the soda because the soda felt good, and digesting the pizza and the pop and the fast food that I just got from Five Guys, right? So it's awesome. It's sweet. It's juicy. It's amazing. And it even happened, the first when I was working with FedEx, I'd be so tired, so I'd fill my body with all these sugars, which in return wouldn't give peak performance the next day. So I'm even more tired. So it continues to spiral out of control. So you want to make sure that your planning, your resources, your things are relative today. So, if you normally drink a whole gallon, go to a half gallon. And then eventually start putting, what I like to do is I start to put the water in front of my face. I have 2 water bottles that I carry with me, and I even have them on this little mini, vacation. I carry those with me so I can look at that water and embody and internalize, hey bro, drink water. Hey bro, take your super greens. Hey, do these things, right? Do the small things, put the small things in your way. I literally have a gym bag with my clamps for the lifting bar, with my back brace for, doing squats, with my lifting gloves, with my resistance band. And with my chucks so I can stay flat footed when I'm doing my squats. I literally have a bag packed. So whenever I'm feeling down or out, it's time to get after it. Bro, you know what time it is. So that way I can get in the gym and make that happen. So the next thing is, you want to make your consistent action realistic. Don't overburden yourself. Start making sure you're building brick by brick. Everybody may want a mansion, but you may not need a mansion, right? You need to understand the cost of maintenance, right? That mansion, eventually you're getting older and you're going to have to maintain that. Do you have the utility? I mean, a lot of people got the resources to maintain a mansion, but too many people they want a mansion, but they don't know how to maintain it. They want a mansion, but they don't know how much a water heater costs when it goes out. They want a new house by themselves, but they don't realize, like, you're getting older by the day. And a lot of times, you're like, I don't want to continue working on this. Now, if you got the drive or whatever, you want a mansion, cool. But I was reading 50 Cent's recent biography that came out, and he was talking about he bought a mansion for his boys. He didn't buy it for himself. But now that he's making all these millions of dollars, way more than he did when he was a recording artist, and he bought, I believe it was Mike Tyson's house. After he bought that house, now he's in a realm where he has an apartment. He lives in an apartment. As a hip hop mogul, he lives in an apartment because it's more convenient. They take care of all the maintenance. They cut all the grass. All he has to do is pay his fees. Get in, get out. You don't need 8 bedrooms. If you want to do that, go on vacation, get an 8-bedroom spot. I mean, it's never been my cup of tea to have that many people in my house. But, whatever it is, that's on you. But at the same time, we've got to get to a point where we're realistic and not trying to impress everybody else, and we're looking out for ourselves. So last but leastly, when it comes to embodying consistent action, you're going to want to seek feedback from some realistic sources. Not mom and dad, but people you look up to. The people that are going to tell you the hard things. I have a good friend that tells me, hey, bro, you BSing. And when he used to tell me, hey, bro, you BSing, I would tell myself that. Like, when I was like, okay, you know what, I could just, I'm gonna skip the gym tonight. I'm just gonna go. I'm tired. FedEx route was rough. I'm like, bruh, you BSing. You need to get in the gym, because if you don't get in the gym today, you're gonna hate yourself because you skipped Monday. And a lot of people might call that crazy, but that's the relentless part of me that's like, bro, you have mountains to climb, and your physical health is a pillar of that. So you're going to want to go out and go get it. Get after it. You're tired, you're exhausted. Take that pre-workout and go get in the gym. So you want to be realistic about your sources for feedback. Get it from, and here's the thing. As recently, I haven't been posting my videos as much or my podcast as much on YouTube as I used to. Actually, for a whole year, I didn't post anything. And I started my podcast on YouTube probably, I believe it was like 2017 through 2018. But I wasn't posting anything. One thing that made me a little bitter is one of my boys was like, "Hey, bro, you posting on Google and Spotify, and you're on Apple Podcasts. Why aren't you posting on YouTube?" And that hurt because I got salty. And I was like, well, this, and this. And so this entire weekend, these couple days that I've been in Tampa, I finished up posting all my podcasts and transferring them to video and then transferring them over to YouTube. So that's all that content's now available on YouTube. So there's more views, there's more faces, more people that can, and if they like the content, they can tune in. But I want you guys to start being precise in your speech. And every day I'm working on even all these 10 rules, these 12 rules for life with Jordan Peterson. I'm always going through them mentally and mentally jogging myself. So be precise in your speech. And how you're going to do that is you're going to find the source. You're going to identify the solution. You're going to create a plan, and then you're going to embody consistent action. That's 5 to 10 years. That is not today and tomorrow. That is, month by month, day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute. You're going to embody consistent action. Ask yourself, do these things align with your values? If not, we're not doing those, because we have goals to achieve, and we have to be proactive and pragmatic about it. Yo, this is the Hungry Millennial, back with Jordan Peterson's number 10. Be precise in your speech. I appreciate you guys. Tune in. If you have any questions or suggestions for the podcast, you can reach me at PROPRAG20@gmail.com. That is proprag20@gmail.com. Thank you.